Have you ever been judged just because of where you come from? Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough in someone else's eyes, no matter how hard you worked? Today's story is about Jenna, a young and talented chef with big dreams, who comes from a simple, working-class neighborhood. She falls in love with a wonderful man named Leo, but his mother, the very wealthy and powerful Mrs. Davenport, believes Jenna is not good enough for her son. Mrs. Davenport is about to host the biggest party of the year, and she is determined to show Jenna that she does not belong in her world. But she has no idea that the one person she looks down on the most holds the secret to her success. Before we continue the story, we would love to know where you are watching from. Please let us know in the comments so we can bring more stories that resonate with you. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you will never miss our upcoming stories. Now, let's dive into the story. Jenna straightened the collar on her simple, elegant dress for the 10th time. Her heart was beating like a drum. Tonight was the night she was finally meeting Leo's mother. Leo, her boyfriend of 2 years, was the kindest man she had ever met. He loved her for who she was, and he didn't care that she grew up in a small apartment on the other side of town, the side with no fancy gates or sprawling lawns. "You look beautiful, Jenna," Leo said, squeezing her hand. "Don't be nervous. My mom will love you." Jenna wanted to believe him, she really did. But Leo had told her stories about his mother, Mrs. Davenport. She was a woman who cared deeply about status, appearances, and a person's family name. Jenna had none of that. She was just a girl who had discovered a passion for cooking and had worked tirelessly to build a life for herself. They pulled up to a massive mansion, a house so large it looked more like a museum. A butler opened the door and led them into a living room that was bigger than Jenna's entire apartment. And there, standing by a grand fireplace, was Mrs. Davenport. She was a tall, blonde woman in a perfectly tailored dress, her expression as cold and flawless as the marble floor. "Mother." "This is Jenna," Leo said, his voice full of warmth. Mrs. Davenport's eyes scanned Jenna from head to toe. It was not a friendly look. It was a look of evaluation, as if she were inspecting an item she had no intention of buying. "Jenna," she said, her voice cool, "Leo has told me so much about you." She didn't offer a handshake. The evening was a trial. Mrs. Davenport asked one probing question after another. "So, Jenna, where did you go to school?" she asked, already knowing the answer. "I went to the city's culinary institute," Jenna replied politely. "Ah, a trade school," Mrs. Davenport said with a thin smile. "How practical. And your parents, what do they do?" "My father is a retired construction worker, and my mother is a teacher's aide," Jenna said, her chin held high. She was proud of her family. Mrs. Davenport simply nodded, a look of faint pity on her face. To her, Jenna was a project. A girl from the wrong side of town who had somehow charmed her son. Throughout the dinner, she made small comments, little digs that were meant to put Jenna in her place. When Jenna talked about her passion for food, Mrs. Davenport would say, "It's so important for everyone to have a little hobby." Jenna left that night feeling small and defeated. Leo was angry with his mother, but Jenna told him it was okay. She knew what she was up against. A few weeks later, Leo told her about his mother's biggest event of the year, the annual Davenport Charity Gala. It was a huge party for the city's most rich and powerful people. "Mother wants you to come." "As my date," Leo said. Jenna could tell from his tone that it wasn't an invitation. It was a challenge. Mrs. Davenport wanted to parade Jenna around in her world, hoping she would fail, hoping she would prove she didn't belong. Jenna almost said no, but then something inside her sparked. A quiet determination. She would not be intimidated. The very next day, a strange thing happened. Jenna was at her office, a small, shared kitchen space where she ran her own business. She was not just a girl with a hobby. She was the secret owner and head chef of a catering company called Cuisine Elite. It was an exclusive, high-end service that was famous among the city's elite. The secret to her success was her anonymity. Clients booked the service through her manager, and the food was so good, no one cared who was behind it. They just knew. It was the best. Her manager, a man named David, walked in, his eyes wide with excitement. "You are not going to believe this," he said. "We got a call. A huge gig. It's for the Davenport charity gala." Jenna froze. It was the biggest, most high-paying event they had ever been offered. It would put her company on the map. But it was his mother's party. "We can't do it," Jenna said immediately. "What? Why not?" David asked, confused. "This is the opportunity of a lifetime," Jenna explained the situation. David thought for a moment. "So? It's perfect," he said. "We operate anonymously anyway. No one knows you're the head chef. My team and I will run the kitchen on the night. You just go as Leo's guest, enjoy the party, and secretly be the star of the show." A slow smile spread across Jenna's face. It was a risky, brilliant plan. The night of the gala arrived. Jenna wore a stunning yet simple dark blue gown. When Leo saw her, his jaw dropped. She looked like she belonged on a red carpet. But as soon as they arrived, Mrs. Davenport began her quiet attacks. "Oh, Jenna, you're here," she said loudly for her friends to hear. "That dress is a lovely color. Is it rented? How practical." Jenna just smiled. "Thank you, Mrs. Davenport. I'm so happy to be here." Throughout the evening, Mrs. Davenport made sure Jenna felt like an outsider. She would introduce Leo to important guests, but would only gesture to Jenna as his friend. When a famous art critic complimented Jenna's dress, Mrs. Davenport quickly pulled him away to discuss a painting. Jenna handled it all with grace. A few times she excused herself to use the restroom. In reality, she was slipping through a service door into the chaos of the kitchen. "Everything on schedule?" she would ask her team in a hushed voice. "Yes, chef," they'd reply. "First course is ready to go out." She would check a sauce, approve a garnish, and then slip back into the party, her heart pounding with adrenaline. Then, the food began to be served. A hush fell over the grand ballroom. The appetizers were tiny, perfect bites of flavor. The main course, a slow-braised beef, was so tender it melted in your mouth. The dessert was a work of art. Whispers turned into loud praise. "My goodness, Helen," one of the guests said to Mrs. Davenport. "This food is divine. Who is your caterer?" "It's a new company I discovered," Mrs. Davenport said, beaming with pride. "They're very exclusive. They're called Cuisine Elite." She was taking all the credit, and Jenna just stood by Leo's side, sipping her water, a small secret smile on her lips. Leo, who knew nothing of her plan, just felt proud that his mother's party was a success. At the end of the night, Mrs. Davenport took the stage to give a speech and thank her guests. "Thank you all for your generous donations," she said, into the microphone. "I am so pleased you all enjoyed the evening." A man from the crowd shouted, "The food was the best part. Bring out the chef." Soon others joined in, chanting, "Chef, chef, chef." Mrs. Davenport looked thrilled. This was her moment. Impressing these people was everything to her. She raised her hand for silence. "Of course," she announced. "Such artistry deserves to be recognized. Let's give a huge round of applause for the brilliant visionary, head chef of Cuisine Elite." She turned and gestured dramatically towards the large kitchen doors, expecting a stranger in a chef's uniform to walk out. The doors swung open. The room fell silent. It was Jenna. She had slipped away one last time and put on a crisp, white chef's apron over her beautiful blue gown. She walked calmly towards the stage, her expression confident and serene. You could see the confusion on the faces of the guests, then the slow dawn of understanding. Leo stared at her, his eyes wide with shock, and then pure admiration. But the Best part was the look on Mrs. Davenport's face. Her proud smile froze, then crumbled. Her face went from pride to confusion, to disbelief, and finally, to pale, horrified humiliation. The woman she had spent the entire night belittling was the genius she had just praised to the heavens. Jenna gracefully took the microphone from a stunned Mrs. Davenport. She looked out at the crowd, her voice clear and strong. "Thank you all so much. It was an honor to cook for you tonight. I have the most amazing team in the world working with me in that kitchen." Then she turned her head slightly and looked directly into Mrs. Davenport's eyes. "And I'd like to give a special thank you to Mrs. Davenport for this incredible opportunity," Jenna said, her voice calm but firm. "It's good to know that my work is good enough for your high standards after all." The room erupted in applause, louder and more sincere than any applause Mrs. Davenport had ever heard at one of her parties. She just stood there, speechless, as the girl from the wrong side of town received a standing ovation in the middle of her perfect, exclusive world. Jenna had not only proven she belonged, she had proven that talent, hard work, and character are worth more than any family name or fancy address. So that was the story of Jenna and her incredible moment of triumph. She showed everyone that you should never, ever judge a book by its cover. Please let us know in the comments. What do you think Mrs. Davenport did the next day? Did she apologize? We would love to read your thoughts. And if this story resonates with you, please do hit that subscribe button. It's completely free for you, but it helps our channel a lot, so we can continue bringing you more stories like this one. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.